Now, let's see who this clown really is.
No!
Principal Deal?
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Donald Trump and ICE crash DC. And you know what? It was kind of like a great unmasking event. You know, the liberal elite have spent the last decade pretending that they're the moral compass of America. They can do no wrong, they're always on the right ethical side. They have a total monopoly on tolerance, compassion, inclusivity, diversity. They are essentially modern day Gandhis, and they've been lecturing us from their ivory towers about the migration crisis. Protect the migrants, they scream. They're asylum seekers, they tell us, from their multi-million-dollar gated mansions, or I guess in DC's case, from their multi-million-dollar townhouses and gated Georgetown estates. Open the borders, they scream from behind those gates. It's all about compassion. But you know what people are starting to notice? The hypocrisy and the ulterior motive. They say open borders is all about compassion and human rights, but they're saying this as they're clearly enjoying and taking advantage of the fruits of cheap labor, illegal labor. Yeah, it's obvious what's going on here. They're the ones benefiting from the mass importation of cheap labor, and the world's poor. And well, talk about a great unmasking event. Donald Trump just kicked the freaking door in, quite literally, and exposed their little game for what it really is. A scam. A predatory racket hiding behind the virtue signaling. Let me show you guys the chaos currently going on in Washington, D.C. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so ICE crashes DC, that's the headline. Or I guess you could say ICE crashes their little left-wing liberal bubble. Take a look at this.
Right now, we're outside of Chef Jeff's restaurant, where this morning ICE agents came in, asked staff for their I-9 forms, and sent workers into a panic. Same thing happened at several restaurants around the district, down the street about a mile away at Millie's. Here's their reaction and reaction from DC Mayor Muriel Bowser.
It's very concerning. The employees are very scared. We're worried about some of them not coming back to work, and just a general panic amongst the people that it affects.
It's very high anxiety. It's very anxiety inducing. I just think it's really terrible right now that ICE is taking people and sending them away to El Salvador and to these other countries and to what are basically concentration camps.
I have heard those reports. I've been getting them all morning. I am disturbed by them. It appears that ICE is at restaurants or even in neighborhoods, and it doesn't look like they're targeting criminals. And so it is disrupting. I want to be clear, this is not an MPD action, no MPD activity involved.
Now, nearly a dozen law enforcement and immigration officials, some wearing plainclothes, some wearing DHS uniforms, came into Chef Jeff's restaurant on New Mexico Avenue Northwest around 10:30 Tuesday morning. We're told no one was taken into custody. The agents were here for about an hour and a half. We've also heard of similar enforcement happening at restaurants in DuPont Circle, Shaw, Columbia Heights today. As you heard, one of them was Millie's, that's off Mass Avenue, telling me about 8 agents came right when they opened this morning, again asking to see those I-9 forms. They had a warrant signed by an ICE agent, not by a judge. No one was taken into custody there either. I-9 forms, by the way, are the employment verification forms used to make sure employees are legally allowed to work in the United States. Rumors about these ICE raids in D.C. started over the weekend. Immigrant support organizations say they want people to have a plan in place. The group Migrant Solidarity Mutual Aid sharing on their social media photos and videos of agents sent to them by community members. Along with the rights, they want people to remember the most important ones: the right to remain silent, call an attorney if you can, and do not sign any documents.
Unfortunately, fear is the goal as these happen, whether in DC or across the country. But what we're also seeing is a lot of solidarity within the DC community.
There was no one detained or arrested that I've heard of, but regardless of that fact, disrupting food service during lunch hours while restaurants are open is alarming, and we are concerned about the fear-mongering tactics that we believe happened today.
And that's the Restaurant Association of Metropolitan Washington telling me that this I-9 audit could have been done in a more proactive way. And we just heard here in the last few minutes that immigration officials are still going into restaurants at this hour asking for those employment verification forms. We're still waiting to hear back from DHS and ICE officials if anybody was arrested or detained today.
Under Donald Trump's leadership, ICE just raided multiple upscale restaurants, including one owned by CBS anchor Norah O'Donnell's husband, Chef Jeff's. ICE basically walked in the place and checked for I-9 forms. No arrests, no violence, just a routine check. Even though the left-wingers are pretending as if Donald Trump sent the frickin' Gestapo to DC. No, just scanning for some very simple paperwork. And guess what? A bunch of these restaurants shut down on the frickin' spot. And one of those restaurant owners, interestingly enough, openly admitted that his employees are now scared. They're scared to come back to work. Huh, well, I wonder why that is. Oh, well, isn't it obvious? Basically, an indirect admission that this guy is likely hiring illegal migrants, using them for cheap labor while pretending to be the paragon of progressive virtue that Washington, D.C. supposedly represents. Well, hopefully the mask is off. The illusion should be collapsing at this point. What an absolutely genius play from the Trump administration. Hit them right where it hurts, expose them in their own backyard, and most importantly, expose the double standard. You know, here comes the crocodile tears from the DC activists. One woman whined, "It's anxiety-inducing. They're sending people basically to concentration camps." Oh, here we go, all over again, comparing basic deportation and the enforcement of American laws to Nazi Germany. You people have lost the plot, and the entitlement is just through the roof. And the double freaking standard, I mean, these people were silent when the Obama administration deported record numbers when Bill Clinton did it, but now Donald Trump's doing it, but since he's doing it in their backyard and doing it effectively, oh, it's fascism and the Trump Gestapo. Spare us the phony outrage. It's obvious what's going on here. The left doesn't care about migrants. They care about power, cheap labor, votes, exploitation, and people are done with it. They're done with the two-tiered system. They're done with watching their wages get suppressed and their neighborhoods transformed, while the rich liberal elite lives behind gated communities as they continue to exploit the undocumented underclass that they've created, while patting themselves on the back pretending as if they're so virtuous and they're doing the right thing. Oh, they care about the people. Oh, the poor illegals. How dare you deport illegal migrants, Donald Trump, you fascist? Who else is gonna clean my toilet? I mean, unironically.
If you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
These people are offered. They portray this, unimpeachable virtue. But the obvious intent, the real motive, I think is quite clear. They own the businesses that are taking advantage of the cheap labor. They live in the gated communities that are being manicured by the cheap labor. The system is broken, and the people know it. I mean, look at this poll right over here. 69% of voters agree U.S. immigration system is broken, according to a Rasmussen poll. The immigration system is absolutely broken, and the Democrats even sometimes admit it, but they'll do nothing. They won't lift a frickin' finger to pass any common sense legislation. They don't want to deal with the issue of birthright citizenship. They didn't want to close the southern border when it was in complete chaos. And now, as Donald Trump is attempting to deport millions of illegals, they're getting in the way and engaging in lawfare, desperately trying to block him. These people don't actually care. They aren't virtuous. They're frickin' virtueless. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.